So I debated on telling this story, but because the guy asked, I'm going to share it with you. Whether it was a joke or not, I was sitting alone at this adorable coffee shop outside, and I was taking up a big table. So a few times people did ask to sit with me, so this couple ended up sitting with me. And eventually, towards the end of their time, which was also happened to be the end of my time there, he asked me, and when his wife left the table, because he was the more chatty one, I had a feeling he might chat with me, but they were really no bad vibes at all. So he ended up, just saying hi, like, hey miss, like, what do you do? And I ended up saying I'm an astrologer, tarot reader, and spiritual coach. And then he chuckled and was like, well, what do you think about us? Now, I had an earbud in the whole time listening to something, but I do like to be in the atmosphere as long as it's not too loud. And so we just laughed and we started chatting. He asked me what I do because of the books that I had. They were healing books. And so after we just got into a conversation naturally, and it wasn't that long. The conversation wasn't that long. It was lovely. It was lovely because I was very honest with him with what I do. So we actually got into a few topics broadly, and I want to share with you what I think of him. And I'll let you guess his astrology sign their astrology signs if you would like. I'll wait till the end of the story to tell you. So he was telling me about their business and how they're at a point where they're successful in this specific group of people wanted a piece of them. That is how he described it. People want a piece of you. We got into other subjects where he said he had a big heart, but he had this like piece in him that was what his wife would call unforgiving. She was kind of more quiet. And to be honest, I think because of what was going on with their business, they may have been active or reactive or feeling heightened. And I don't think that, I think this was a heightened version of who they are. And they also had a glass of wine. I don't know them, but that is my initial observation off of energy read of like, oh, like this is who they are, but this is like heightened from something. And so they're going through something with their business where they want a piece of them. And then there's this like, he has a big heart, but there's a piece of him that is unforgiving. And I did ask him, I straight up was like, do you like it there? And he was like, yeah, he does. And his wife was like, I think like she's like, I think like there's forgiveness is important. And he kind of talked over her a little, but from what I could tell, she just knows him, right? What do I know? And I could tell she was like, that's what I think. I don't think she thinks he should think that, right? But that's her observation. And so they're struggling with that. He has this piece in him. They talked about their child a little bit as well. And I did overhear about his life. And then he brought up his past, a little bit of his history of what he's done. So like seems like a very well-rounded person. And what I would say to him is that piece of you, that company, that you feel that company is trying to take from you, is that piece of you that you perhaps don't accept. I don't know if it's forgiveness. I think there's an acceptance that about ourselves, because he did talk a little bit to me about, he was open about his insecurities, about his body, because that's what I had brought up, is an eating disorder, and he too was vulnerable in sharing with me. And like from a very young age, so I could tell it was like very normal for him to express. And so, but he was very fast talking, very heady. So, and what I can tell from him was that part of him that he doesn't necessarily accept or forgive, that part of him also is a part of himself. And he brought up ego. And I think he's actually experiencing that with himself. Is that there's a part of him that is seeking all this validation when that part of him just needs that validation, that control. I'm not sure if he sees it that way, because I did specifically say mine is from control for sure. And how that's affecting his life and business when they just want like a piece of him, right? If he would just give that piece of him to himself, perhaps, just a thought, that wouldn't feel, or even maybe even happen. Who knows? And how that's where it's running from. Like, that's the root of perhaps any of his issues in his life. Because he seems like a very open person, obviously. But because of that, you know, he's talking more. He wants attention, right? He wants that validation. You know, that's an obvious thing. And I very much understand as well. I'm not speaking from someone who hasn't experienced this. Not in his specific situation, but what I'm describing, like the way I'm reading him. And that's what I would share. I would share with him, hey, if you actually resolve that, a lot of this actually might, and she probably knows that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a Gemini, like, there you go, she's a Gemini. His wife's a Gemini. She probably already knows that, of course, and he's an Aries. So even just like thinking about the astrology, this may happen quite a bit for him in the next few months, especially. It may come up a lot, and I think maybe in July, I'm like hoping I see them again. I'm like, I don't even know if I'll see them, but I'm sharing this with you. Is that by July or August, he'll have a breakthrough, and she'll be like, I know, I'm here. And I just think it's so beautiful, because relationships are amazing when you really love someone. Like, I have that right now in my life, and there will be more. This is going to be, I did not say in the beginning, but this is like the Venus and Taurus talk. That's where it's at right now. And I think there's a lot of negative things to bring up with what's coming up. So I do want to bring like positivity to a beautiful, just like how beautiful relationships can be. I have more thoughts. I have a more Taurus and Venus and I have more Venus and Taurus thoughts about a couple other things that I've been observing and consistently hearing in the ethers, and I want to respond to. So, like, narratives about relationships and having I don't know, I can't talk. Being in such a loving experience, something I've not experienced with a romantic partner until this point in this way on my end. And honestly, in both, because I haven't seen this evolution for myself. It's just so beautiful, and I really pray that we all get to experience that kind of love, but I wouldn't have gotten there without consistently learning to love myself and to observe that in a couple, and like have like just a brief moment and be able to read that, and like just that like, yeah. So I feel like this is very Gemini too, a Gemini talk. I have like this, I'm just like, I had to redo this because I didn't realize I have a bra on, and I was like, ooh.